GTA 6 will be a masterpiece for all gamers, but there has been some speculation and anticipation about the unconfirmed locations that Rockstar have not yet announced. In particular, Cuba seems to be on the tips of everyone's tongues as a highly sought after location. But will we actually get it in the GTA community? That's what I'm going to be talking about today. But before we get into that, guys, if you're new around here, don't forget to give this a like and a subscribe on the channel, as it really helps the channel grow. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible, so any love will be greatly appreciated. But let's get straight into it. So if we take a step back to before GTA 6 was actually announced by Rockstar, there was a lot of murmurings as to what GTA 6 would have actually been. Now, original plans for the title, according to Jason Schreier, was it was to be codenamed Project Americas, which was for it to be more vast than any other Grand Theft Auto game to date. Early designs called for the inclusion of territories modeled after large swathes of North and South America, according to people familiar with the plans, but the company related in those ambitions and cut the main map down to a fictional version of Miami and its surrounding areas, which we now know as Leonida. Fast forward into 2023 and there was even more information about Cuba potentially being in GTA 6, and this is where we get the McVicker leaks. Now, Tyler McVicker is a pretty reliable source for most of the Valve or Steam games like Team Fortress 2, Dota 2, and the Counter-Strike franchise, and under no circumstances does this mean he's bulletproof. He's been wrong more than a few times before, just like anyone who dabbles in this international mischief. However, he did share some knowledge about GTA 6 at the time, where during one of his YouTube live streams he was answering some questions from the comment section, where he said there is a time jump. It takes place in Miami, Florida, the Vice City area, but then also part of Cuba. It's about the drug trade and it's about bank robbing. Now, while this was said back in 2023 before anything we knew regarding GTA 6, what we need to know is that Cuba's not even confirmed as a location yet. It's just a lot of people speculating. At the moment, we only have 6 confirmed actual locations for GTA 6. So far, we have Vice City, Port Gilhorn, the Grass Rivers, Leonida Keys, Mount Caliga National Park, and Ambrosia. So having 6 locations confirmed in this time does suggest that Rockstar may be holding a little bit back, and then maybe McVicker's comment about Cuba being part of GTA 6 is actually a bit more on the money than we actually think, considering he's actually been right about Miami, Florida, and Vice City so far. So while the news we have on Cuba being in GTA 6 is very minimal at this point in time, it's a lot of unconfirmed reports, there's a lot of leaks going around that suggest that Cuba may be a part of it, but the amount of times that Cuba has been referenced by either, Rockstar devs or in the actual trailer itself, don't worry, I'll get into that a little bit further, it sort of suggests to me that Rockstar are actually, sort of teasing the fact that Cuba could play a part in GTA 6. And my theory has been that if Cuba is to be a part of GTA 6, that it's probably going to be either like a flashback or maybe some form of DLC, similar to how North Yankton was in GTA 5, that mission at the start and then back when Trevor and Michael go back later in the story. I think it could be very similar to that. There's obviously the character of Bautista who comes into it a little bit in his own right, but I think the whole point of Cuba being sort of like a flashback mission, maybe it's Lucia's background, to be perfectly honest, could be actually really, really interesting for how the story of GTA 6 goes. The vicinity Florida has to Cuba, it's actually relatively close, which actually suggests to me that it could form part of the map at some point down the line. Maybe Rockstar somehow put a Cuba DLC together and you get to play the Cuba map, maybe similar to how Cayo Perico, but instead of it being a heist, it's actually a playable map where there's actually NPCs walking around the map and it's not just a place where you go to do a heist and come back. Although Rockstar might just do that sort of thing where they just make it a heist and you just go there to do the heist and that's it. So it's a lot of unconfirmed reports. A lot of this is going to be like a wild guess, but for the most part it's not out of the realms of possibility. There's still some interesting stuff to go over, but I think that Cuba is actually not that far away from being confirmed. Quickly jumping back to the McVicker leak where he talks about GTA 6 being the drug trade, this is actually quite interesting because one of the characters of GTA 6 is Brian Heder. Now we know for sure that Brian Heder is a drug smuggler in Leonida, and he's probably got some connections with people down in Cuba, for example, that he utilizes to keep his business running smoothly. Brian has a lot of associates working for him, Jason being one of them that is still currently working for him, and also Cal Hampton. So I think the whole drug trade that McVicker was on about is actually pretty spot on, because in the actual trailer itself we see a plane being loaded with what I'm guessing is contraband. We don't know where it's headed to, but my guess would be it could be going down to Cuba. And then there's also another shot of a plane flying over Jason's head in the trailer, maybe suggesting that a smuggling run is part of the story at some point in time. It would make a lot of sense given Brian's current profession and given the way the story seems to be going and what the McVicker leak told us. It could be a lot more on the money than we're actually thinking. This whole drug trade sounds kind of interesting for how GTA 6 will play out. I'm interested to see if Cuba plays a bigger role in it as well. In trying to work out how GTA 6 and Cuba might actually work in the game, if it does eventuate that Cuba is part of the game, I think the character of Raul Bautista might actually provide that link. Now, Bautista is obviously a veteran bank robber, and he's got a lot of confidence and cunning and charm. And as his bio suggests on the GTA website, he's looking for a couple of young wolves who are willing to take risks in the pursuit of their loot. Now, I think the character of Bautista has a backstory in which he was born and raised in Cuba during the reign of Fidel Castro, and I think his background may form part of a potential flashback mission, but at the same time, Rockstar teasing GTA 6 is ever more present in one of the screenshots with Bautista. Now, Bautista is actually chilling on this massive yacht, I'm guessing, in Miami, but if you look to the right of where Bautista is standing, you will see a little cup with a Cuban flag on it. Now Rockstar won't try and put anything in a particular screenshot without it trying to give some form of meaning to us as a community. The fact that that cup with a Cuban flag on it is just slightly out of our eye line means we actually have to focus well in on it. And the fact that it is a Cuban flag after all suggests to me that Cuba might actually be part of this game, and that Rockstar is just teasing the community along to try and take us down maybe a potential route where maybe Cuba's not actually part of the game. But I reckon the fact that it's there and it's next to such a prominent character like Bautista does suggest to me that Cuba in some instance will play a role in GTA 6. But that has been the end of this video, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments section down below. Do you think Cuba will form a part of GTA 6? Do let me know. But with that, guys, I will leave you to it. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the channel, and I'll see you with another video very, very soon. Have a good one, guys. See ya. Bye bye.